All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if it has BSS with its main Google search. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph down below here in white. Got our highest intent peeps. Over on the left is a peep searching for, boudoir photo shoot in my city, and they're searching that today, things like that. And so people are easiest convert, closest to the money, and we make a video. The videos we make are about BSS, kind of first getting found by these peeps. And over on the right, we got our lowest intent peeps. So we talk about over with our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS, and right now we're currently only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means we're dying pretty fast because that means we're on page 2 or deeper if we got 0 slots page 1. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 and done searches. And that means we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market if we're on page 2 or deeper. And that means our business will be down pretty fast. Also, 1 slot on page 1, that ain't good enough anymore because every other boudoir photographer on page 1 is basically going to have 1 slot. And there's 10 organic slots. So if we got 1, there's going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. We're not sending it out. We're not looking special. We're not looking differentiated. And as a result, boudoir photographers actually, or boudoir buyers, they're just going to click to all 10 people's website, opens everyone's website, submit a contact form for everyone, get a quote from everyone. And as a result, everyone's going to get price shopped, compared to death, price shopped to death. We have no pricing leverage, pricing power, just because there's so many options. And this is what approximately 80% of buyers do. The other, they're just page 1 only. So, we really only got to worry about the peeps on page 1 for approximately 80% of buyers. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. So it's not normal to have such a small number of slots page 1 Google search as a boudoir photography business owner. It's common, it's accepted, but it's not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are 1, market saturation, and 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, with market saturation, what actually happens is the kind of over time, more boudoir photographers enter the market. Normally it's because people upgrade their gear, they get a new iPhone, an awesome camera, or new camera itself. They just decide I'm gonna throw up a Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir now, or they get a website created, say they're now a boudoir photographer, or they're posting the mom groups on Facebook saying they now for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers in the market competing for the same number of buyers, and as a result, we actually run out. We basically kind of get out competed. It's just harder for every other boudoir photographer that's in the market. Now, these 2 deeper root causes. First one, market saturation. Yeah, I did that. But the most important one is this new one, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is something boudoir photographers kind of auto-accepted, haven't really thought about. But many have felt that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slot page 1 on Google. And as a result, maybe their website was, page 1 slot 7. And some new boudoir photographers entered the market. And then their link, their boudoir photographer basically link got pushed down to page 2 slot 2. So they're saying like, man, I hope those people delete their websites and Google brings me back up onto page 1. But this is 100% the wrong mentality. Google actually allow us and wants us to take as many page 1 slots on Google as possible as we're willing to put in the effort to take and acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know Google literally will give us as many slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire, which means the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. So yeah, when you only got 0 1 slots page 1 Google, disappearing boudoir photographer, because if we got 0 slots page 1, we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1, we're still basically invisible. because we got one slot, same as the other 9 competitors on the page. So yeah, we're getting form fills, but probably 10% or less of those are converting. And this is kind of the disappearing boudoir photographer is kind of the warning sign, the warning symbol, the canary in the coal mine, saying that now our boudoir photography business itself is on the path to, is actually on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we have discovered a solution. We discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And I mean, it works exactly as the name says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there in as many placements as possible. And this is kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow on the east side, the back side of those mountains. So what happens to that snow is it melts into small streams, flows into small streams and then small rivers, and eventually all the melted snow collects into the large Amazon River. And that large Amazon River, that's page 1 of Google search. So we gotta get the snow up top first, top of the mountain, so it can melt and come down, and that is S-cube methodology, is getting that snow up there. Everything flows from S-cube methodology. And what's interesting is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can enable boudoir photography business to still have a chance to grow, even in a ever-saturating, boudoir photography marketplace in a relatively quick, and give that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution that gives that same benefit of enabling business to grow in a saturated marketplace that I've seen that is as strong as S-cube methodologies is having a large, well-known brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 8, for like 5 to 10 years. That is, that's way longer than our, S-cube methodology to kind of get that power to grow. And dude, we ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore. No, dude, AI is here. We do not have 5 to 10 years to wait anymore. We need to be building momentum now. And interesting, one of my estimates is that using S-cube methodology, my estimate is it'll actually enable boudoir photographers to, basically acquire and have a large, well-known brand in their area, approximately 8x faster than normal methods. It's because, we're being seen way more, higher volume, higher frequency, and more surfaces, more touch points. And so that's kind of my own estimate. And an example here, S-cube methodology, we are going to LA. Let's say we're in LA and there are 1 million boudoir photographers there. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they shoot boudoir. And so, over a million websites trying to rank page 1 Google search, ultra competitive. And we ain't got no large, well-known brand. So we've decided, man, our only hope here is S-cubed methodology. So we fire it up and we crank it to the max. So let's say we crank it to the max and we take literally the first 300 slots across all the social searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And then we also take the, let's say those flow onto Google search at a, and we take the first 300 slots Google search. Well, 10 Google slots per page. So we're taking out literally the first 30 pages on Google. And so when a boudoir buyer searches for anything related to, high intent with boudoir in our city, we're basically the only one that comes up when they search on social, when they search on Google. So if, they got to go to slot basically 301 to find any of our competitors. So if that's the case, what is the whose business will most likely be growing in this situation? Probably ours, utilizing S-cube methodology. Whose businesses will likely be failing? Slowing down, disappearing, failing, going invisible. Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photography competitors in our city, because we're basically the only one buyers can find. So this is kind of a, kind of the most extreme example of what S-cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. And yeah, initial benefit, we get more slots page 1 on Google, cool. And every new slot we get page 1 on Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. And when we make them invisible, they're page 2 or deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. That means we can basically control, through our effort, how many of our competitors would kick off, make them disappear in boudoir photographers, and make their boudoir photography business, be on the path to disappearing. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually like this initial benefit. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe recommends having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search. Because when we have these, basically everyone else can have 1 slot, all the other competitors. So we're going to be dominating them with our 3 slots. And the ultra rare scenario where someone has 2 slots, well, we got 3 slots, we're still dominating them. So allows us to dominate in basically all scenarios. And finally, we know that Boudoir photographer with BSV, Boudoir search visibility, is a visible Boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. That's fine. We now have the solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results utilizing S cubed methodology. So I wanted to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS Boudoir. So I strictly use S cubed methodology. That's my results. Got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So I actually I was able to go from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely by utilizing S cubed methodology. Now we're going to check out, we're going to see if this Boudoir photography business has BSS, kind of the basis for all this stuff. So let's see. So we got to do a search, Boudoir photography Las Vegas. All right. All right, so we got Boudoir photographer Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, there we go. All right, we got 1. 1 out of 10. Nice. All right, we got 1 out of 10. So we do have BSS, Boudoir search sameness, because we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google search for high intent keywords here. And ideally, we would want to get to our GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because then we can basically guarantee we're not a bit disappearing Boudoir photographer. At minimum, we're treading water, or we could actually be growing. So we do want to get to 3 out of 10. So if you are a disappearing Boudoir photographer, you realize now you got BSS, you do your local search, do your city search. You now understand what the false belief of page one equality is, or a lot of people had never even thought about it before, kind of accepted it as normal. So there wasn't really, again, a phrase or a word to describe it. But now people are like, oh yeah, that definitely doesn't make any sense to automatically assume page one equality is normal or kind of default. So yeah, it's definitely a false belief. And you understand market saturation, how it's been, slowly, people get new iPhones, new gear. But now you see AI. You see AI actually putting people out of work, taking people's jobs. And so you see most likely there's going to be an additional increase in boudoir photographers caused by AI, people losing their jobs, having to generate income. So it's not people only get a new iPhone or only get a new camera now. There's going to be a mass, see AI, you believe there's going to be a massive influx of actually new people entering as boudoir photographers, more supply of boudoir photographers fighting for the same number of buyers. And you see that's coming, and you assume it's only ever going to keep increasing as AI takes more and more and more jobs. There's more and more boudoir photographers being forced to enter the market to earn income. And you're saying, okay, well, ads, you pay for ads, they work, they don't work, they're not permanent. You stop spending, they stop existing. Ads is only like, text ads 1 slot, local service ad 1 slot. If you can even get approved for local service ads. And there's no real staying momentum there. If you stop paying, it stops existing, you stop existing. And so you're seeing SQ's methodology, you can see it can actually give momentum to having more links on page one, basically as many links as we want to put the work in to acquire. Has much more momentum than ads. And so you're seeing SQ's methodology like, boom, this is what I want. I want to achieve page one visibility in preparation of all the kind of new boudoir photographers going to enter the market because AI is going to be taking tons of people's jobs. And you want to make sure you stay a visible boudoir photographer, even more visible, achieve boudoir search visibility, hit the GBC minimum, 3 out of 10 for local search and city search. And you also want the extra bonuses on the back end from using S-cubed methodology, which is, we're basically creating thematic keyword pillars around our brand for social search to know and understand, Google search to know and understand, and for all the AIs to know and understand, which means every new thing we rank for, or new keyword or more of the same keyword that we rank more and more for, it's building this thematic keyword pillar around our name, around our brand, which increases the probability we get recommended for AI search. AI overview at the top of Google and AI search like ChatGPT search, searching best boudoir photographer in whatever, Fayetteville, Arkansas. ChatGPT search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, Claude search, Perplexity search. And we're literally seeing, so you're seeing that. And the final thing you're seeing is, man, if someone else hops onto this in your city first, kind of takes the first action, works with me on it, then, my plan right now is to only work with one person per city. So you'd have to recreate S-cubed methodology, re-engineer our proprietary methodology. So you have to figure out how to do it right first. And then if we're already working with someone else, you'd have to kind of, if you equal our output, when you'd have to do it correctly, then you would kind of maintain a laggard place behind us while we're eating up those page one Google search, getting the thematic keyword pillars for our brand for AI search to be recommended, because more and more search is going to AI. Dude, I haven't done a standard Google search in like maybe a year. I use the AI mode. I literally don't try to go look for anything, type on links to read anything. But basically, to build up that momentum, actually to pass us, you'd have to exceed our capacity all on your own. And so you're like, screw that. I'd rather be the first mover, prep myself for more boudoir photographers coming in because of AI taking people's jobs, start building up my momentum, back in momentum AI search, kick my competitors out or potential future competitors out by dominating the highest intent keywords. Because you need to do this in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. Then shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. The hospital is not open right now. The hospital is closed. But when I do open up for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.